Hello everyone and welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. Today we are going to be using some of the new in colors, and this is the DSP that is available in the new in colors. We have Sweet Sorbet, Orchid Oasis, Parakeet Party, Starry Skies, and Tahitian Tides. And on one side we have polka dots flowers, and the second side we have stripes and plaids. So it's very versatile paper. It comes in 6x6. This paper is also available in the 2021 through 2023 in colors as well. You can find these on page 135 of the annual catalog. They're right here. They also come in brights, neutrals, regals, and settles. So you've got just about everything you can think of covered, other than black. But black goes with everything. We're also going to be using a stamp and die set that you can win or earn for free out of the Celebration book. That is good through August 31st of 2022. We are going to be using the Hippest Hippos and the Hippo Dies. They can be found in the Celebration catalog on page 4 and 5. If you spend $50 worth of and buy $50 worth of product, you can get the Hippos, and another $50 you can get the dies. I am really enjoying playing with this set. So before I tell you what we're going to be making today, I wanted to let you know that all the dimensions and all the products I use are going to be listed below. Also, please subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get this channel to grow so we have more viewers. And once we do have more viewers, we can start exploring other options about different kinds of classes and stuff that could be offered with more subscribers. That's all I can think of right at the moment. You'll also be notified when I upload a new video. You'll also find a link to my online store in the description below. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So, on with the project. We are going to make this very large treat box. It's a flip top box. It's rather cute. Got our little hippo. He's playing in the water with his goggles and snorkel there. And I'm just going to slide this off instead of untying the bow. And it opens up like this. So it's overall measurements of this box. It is 2.5 inches high and 2.5 inches square. So like I said, you could put a lot of treats in there, or even an actual birthday gift or something, depending on what it was. But I designed this for a birthday party and to put balloons and stuff in it for the children. So now this one is out of the Tahitian Tide, but we're not going to be doing just blue. We'll set that aside. We are going to be working with Sweet Sorbet. So to get started, we need to take and cut our paper down to the appropriate size. Excuse me, a little scratchy throat. I've been sleeping under fans, and it tends to dry out the throat. So we need to cut this paper down to 8.5 by 10.5. So you have a nice strip of paper to use on something. Always great for inside of a card or something. And that is the cutting we're going to be doing with this. Then we're going to get the scoreboard, the Simply scoreboard. I love my little scoreboard. I prefer doing this over the scoring on your cutter, but you can score on the cutter if you'd like. It is all up to you. And what we want to do is on the 10.5 inch side, we want to score at, wrong end. That there is 2 ends to this. There's a large and a small. I prefer when I'm doing cardstock to use the larger end, and with DSP. If I'm doing vellum or if I'm doing a mylar or something, I use the smaller end. But for most of the time, I use the larger end. So I'm going to score 2.5, 5, 7.5. I'm off looking at my directions so I don't make a mistake, and 10. Then you need to turn this, and you need to turn it so the small 1/2-inch score area is to the top. And on the 8.5-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, and 3.5. And that's the end of scoring. This does come together quite easily. First, we're going to burnish all of our fold lines and get your bone folder out, and you want to make sure everybody is well folded. Get these all burnished well. There's all of our phone lines burnished. So you need to grab a pair of snips or scissors, whatever your preferred pair of hand cutting tools are. And we're going to start on, this is the top where the small piece is, and this is the bottom. So what we're going to want to do, I'm going to get a pin here. When we fold this up like this is the back of our box where this little fold is. And the back, the piece closest to this 1/2-inch score line, is going to be our flap that closes. So if this is the flap that closes, this one here, this is the piece that we're going to cut in half right about here to make our sides. So I'm making a small one here to tell me that's only half. That means this 1.5, and this is the box we don't need. Okay? This is the bottom, and we're going to start with the bottom. So you want to cut straight up the score line. There's no wedging on this one except right here, so that when we close it, we don't have any bunching. You're going to cut straight up these. Right up to the score line. Just like that. And I got a little off right there, so I just do a little quick snip and it's gone. So that's the bottom. So we know that this is going to be our flap. So we want to come straight down, and you want to stay on this side of where the score line is, because you don't want the score line impeding on your lid. So you just stay just to one side, so you have no bulk here, because you get the bulk if you don't cut here. Like on this one, you can see the bulk right here, a little bit. It's not going to matter on the bottom, but where your lid is, it will matter. And then we're going to take a little wedge right like that. And we're going to do the same thing here, cutting so we don't have that bulk on the lid. And we're going to cut down all the rest of these lines, just straight down. If I can operate the scissors today, we're going to cut straight down. So let's start with the sides here. I said we only need about 1/2, so I just go down about 3/4 of an inch or so and just cut straight across, which is not too straight in my book. Let's try that again. This one is the one we say we're going to get rid of, so we'll leave that one till last. We'll come down here and cut this one straight across. So those are our side flaps. Now we'll get rid of this one. I find it easier to fold things back. And you want to take and cut right down the line as neat as you can. You could put this on the cutter if you wanted, but I just prefer to do it by hand. So here's what we got so far. This is our box. These are all cut. This is our lid and the sides. Get rid of all this and throw it in the can, wherever I hid the can. So now we need to do a couple little prep things before we put the box together. The first is the corners. If you leave the corners pointed, they're not going to go into the box too well. Now we no longer have a quarter rounder, but I know many of you have some type of corner rounder in your collection. And if you do, use your corner rounder to round the corners on this. Now, if you don't have a corner rounder, I brought out a scrap piece of paper from the blue one I made. Take your snips, and this is so, if you can see this, it is, that's how much the corner rounder is taking off. It is just a hair. Just take and just gently go around and snip off. And there's the one I just did with the blue. So you can do it without the corner rounder. The corner rounder just makes it easier. And it's one of the sad things I've seen disappear. So round those corners either manually or with a rounder. Next, we need to, well, we'll come back to that. Next, we need to decorate the box. I prefer to decorate before I put it all, assemble it. So since we're using Sweet Sorbet, I cut out some DSP and we're using the flowers. And these pieces of paper, our DSP, are 3 1/4 by 2 1/4, and there's 4 of them to go across the top of the box. And then there's one to go on the lid, which is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So grab your adhesive of choice. And we'll stick all those on quickly. Like I said, this little process does not take too long. These boxes, once you've made 1 or 2, they come together very quickly. So if you need to make quite a few for a party, it's quite easy. So we got all our DSP on. Now we're going to assemble the box. Now when I do this part of the assembly, I am going to use tear and tape, which I did not grab out before. Sorry about the little delay. I forgot to grab my tear and tape. And I don't know where my tear and tape is. Well, we're going to use glue because I can't find the tear and tape. Normally I'd use tear and tape on this, but glue works. Just put it right on here. Make sure you don't go over the edge here because you don't want it sticking out the other side. Flip it around and lay it flat and move this one over to it. I know where the tear and tape is. It's in the living room because I've been working in the living room because it's a much cooler room since we've been hot this summer. So, and we're hanging up on there a little bit. So this is your flap. Before I assemble the bottom here, I want to test this out. Give it a dry run real quick. Make sure that it closes in here neatly the way it's supposed to. It's not going to. And that happens occasionally. Sometimes you're just a little touch too wide right in the pieces here. So we're just going to take off just a smidge. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of a haircut so that it will close. That's why you have to make sure the sides are off. And now it fits in there perfectly. Now that we've got that closed, doing the bottom will be a little bit easier. So this is the front of the box here. So this is, make sure I'm doing that right. That's the front. So that's the front flap. So we want the 2 sides to go in first. And you'll notice this box does not, put a little glue on half of this. This does not close clear across the bottom. And I needed to shorten that distance so that I could get the height I needed. I'll just give a little bit there. We will put the back on here. Make sure you're keeping everything square. And then we'll put on this one. Now we'll flip this back over and open this. And you can stick your hand in there or bone folder, just give it a little rub inside to make sure it's going to stick. Okay, so we got this much of the box done. But if you notice, it was quite awkward to open this. So this part here, when I stuck my hand in to open it, I had to sort of fiddle around in there. So I'm going to show you a couple options. The first one is if you have one of the old 1/2 inch punches. You could use a 1 inch punch, 3/4. You could use an oval, whatever punch, as long as you have a small one that you can put in here about halfway and just go in about halfway, just to make a little finger hole. Doesn't have to be big, but just enough to give you a little room to open that box up a little easier. If you don't have a small punch, we'll bring my paper back out here. You can do a couple things. You can just make a little snip and a little snip, and then come in here and just curl and cut that out like that. It's not the neatest. I've seen other people just make a little V snip into the paper, but maybe a little wider than that. Just something to give you a little place to stick your fingers when you're opening it. Punches do work better, but you can cut this to, manually. Okay. Yeah, so I know a lot of you have kept all of your old punches and keeping them. We don't have them anymore, and those small punches really do serve their purposes, and that is one of them. So now that we've got the box made, we'll go ahead and close it up. Now you see how nice it closes. Now we need, we'll set that off to the side here. Now we need to make our hippo. So I decided, since the other little boy hippo here that we had on the first one, I decided he was a boy and he's playing in the water, and I do use blue paper. I decided, since we're using pink, we should have a little girl hippo. So I decided to use, well, the ballerina hippo. And I'm not going to stamp it out for you. I stamped the hippo with memento, and then I colored it with blends, and then die cut it on the mini machine. But this is the little hippo girl we made. Her skirt is made out of flamingo pink. So she's rather cute, and she's got blue eyes. And then I decided, since she was a cute little ballerina girl, that she should have a blushing bride little umbrella. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tack the umbrella down. Just put a little bit of glue, ever so slightly, and sort of tack it here on her arms. And now we're going to cover the back of it with some dimensionals, and the dimensionals will also help hold that, because we're going to put one right over the top of it. And one on the umbrella, because we don't want it to come loose either. And then we'll bring in our box. Oh, in my last video, I mentioned about taking and pressing on the dots, and I could not remember the demonstrator's name I heard this from. Her name is Susan LaCroix. I wanted to let you know and thank her. Her and her daughter, Julie Davidson, have a Sunday show, which is quite interesting, and I would highly recommend it. So once you get that, you want to place her on the top, just like that. And then I took some seam binding crinkle ribbon. Doesn't take much. And snip off a back there. Whoa, dimensional cover. They get everywhere. You find them everywhere. And do your best to tie a bow on camera. And I tend to like my bows bigger and floppier, but you can tie your bows any way you want. And if you have other ribbon you want to use it. Color your ribbon if you want. You know, I believe in making the projects your own. And I got a little bit extra here. Whack those two off just slightly. And that is our cute little treat box for our birthday party. And we'll bring back the Tahitian Tide here real quick and put his bow back on him. And there's the two boxes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, all the dimensions, sizes, and everything I'm using are below. Please subscribe so you know when my next video will be uploaded. I am trying to upload at least 3 a week, sometimes 4. Please subscribe, as I am trying to grow my new channel, and I would really appreciate it. And like I said, if you need a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I'd love to be yours. If you have any questions, please email me. And I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you guys on the next video. Have a great day.